Okay, hello everybody. How are you all doing? This is Astrocastrophe coming at you live from St. Petersburg, Florida. And today we're going to talk about the biggest defamation case in U.S. history, which is the Alex Jones versus the parents of Sandy Hook. And he is being sued for $965 million. That is the most anyone in U.S. history has ever been ordered to pay in a defamation judgment. And that's no small dollars. That's Jeff Bezos money. That is Elon Musk money. That is the Clinton Foundation money. Sorry, don't mean to go there, but I had to. This is an astronomical amount of money for anyone to pay. And especially Alex Jones. He is not a multimillionaire. According to himself, he has less than $1.5 million in his bank account. InfoWars itself at this point in the year 2022 is worth less than $1 million, and that's including his product and payroll. So it sounds like InfoWars is something that is hardly hanging on anymore. But what do I know? I don't run a business, especially a $1 million business. The courts claimed that part of this award he has to pay out is due to the money he makes. So I heard somewhere where they looked at his views or some shit like that, and that's where they calculated this number. Or they looked at his income, and they discovered that he needed to pay this amount of money, but it's actually really ridiculous. They claimed that he made $61 million last year, but that was gross pay. That was money that had to go to the company. That wasn't money that he made himself. The most he ever made, I think, was, and he said this himself, was probably back in 2015 or 16, whenever he was going through that divorce. And he made $12 million that year. It was around 2016, I think, because that was also the year that Trump was into office. And he gave a lot of that credit to Trump as to why he made $12 million that year. But he said he was going through the divorce and he had to pay about $10 million of that to buy his wife out of the company. So Alex Jones is no stranger to the civil structure of the law and paying money to these sorts of things. He's clearly someone who has gained money, who has money, but he's nowhere near to being a billionaire. So he also claimed last year he paid himself only $200,000, which is not a whole lot for someone of his stature, someone who is supposedly a multimillionaire, because you'd have to be or a multi-billionaire to even pay this off. He's not that rich. There may have been highs and lows in his life, like that year where he made $12 million, but no, he's not Steve fucking Jobs or Bill Gates. So aside from that was brought up first because it's just ridiculous to think that anyone's going to pay that money. And he's going to have it appealed. And he himself is pretty confident that's going to get overturned. And we'll just start by saying that I think what he did was absolutely horrible. I think it was very vile to do that to families, to go out there and to accuse them of not being real, to accuse them of being crisis actors, to say that their children never existed. Yeah, I think that was very fucking horrible. And yeah, I do think that he needs to face some sort of punitive damages for this, whether it's legal or spending time in jail, but clearly he's not spending time in jail. Clearly, they're trying to take him for everything he's worth. And I don't really think that he should spend time in jail. I would say definitely if he was ordered to pay a certain amount of money, not billions of dollars, if he was ordered to pay a certain amount of money and didn't pay it, as anyone else would, you would go to jail. But what he said is, something that I sort of agree with when it comes to the left is defamation is not protected speech. I don't care what you say. Defamation can ruin someone's credibility. However, defamation is the same thing when people go out there and lynch after people's jobs because they said something about on Twitter about boys and girls having different chromosomes, and then suddenly they're lynched and fired from their job. That, in a way, that's defamation. In a way, because it's essentially the same thing. What they're doing to Alex Jones is they're trying to strip him of his livelihood. And essentially they almost have. He's going to be spending the rest of his life paying this off if he pays it off. However, beyond that, we'll get back to what I was saying is, no, I definitely thought it was disgusting what he did. However, he never directly named the parents. He never directly named the family members, except for one. His name was Robbie Parker. I think that's a distinction that needs to be made because a lot of people are going out there saying, well, he never named any individual families. He never said any individual names. No, he did name one. He did name one. And in my view, yeah, that definitely sets him up for this to, be held accountable for this shit. It's not like he was just going out there and spitting out nonsense. No, he did directly name someone, and that's fucked up, okay? That's just a little fucked up to name someone, and then who knows if someone went to their house, made harassing phone calls. There was a couple families, one or two, I believe, that had to move multiple times and going to hiding. So this is all pretty fucked up shit. He definitely deserves to suffer some sort of penalty for it. $1 billion, I don't know. And going further, yeah, the court does have a little bit of a bias against him, or did. For one reason or another, the lawyers of the parents got a hold of the contents of his phone, which Alex had said, no, there's no text in regards to Sandy Hook or crisis actors or anything like that on my phone. Nothing of the sort. The lawyers somehow got a hold of that and found out, yes, there were texts in regard to Sandy Hook. Now, how they got the contents of that phone was from Alex's own legal team. Now, I don't know how the fuck that accidentally happens, but apparently it does. And it's just too out of this world to believe that it was, like a mistake. It just lastly, it's definitely a kangaroo court in many ways. Just based on the fact that he's being charged $1 billion fucking dollars. That's more than what that pharmaceutical company, what was it called, Purdue? That's more than what they had to pay when they had lawsuits against them in regards to death related to OxyContin, and that took thousands of lives, thousands. And they made tens of billions of dollars, and they were only ordered to pay $600 million. So I do think there's a lot of bias in this. However, what Alex Jones said about the families was very barbaric and very life-destroying by the sounds of it. Now, you can't always trust what the mainstream media says, but I tend to think that when they're interviewing families and stuff like this, that the families are a little bit more sincere after their children had just been killed, and you've got this maniac on there telling you that you and your children never fucking existed, or that you're actors. It is, however, a bit concerning because that $1 billion which he is never going to pay off. It just seems, and a lot of people are saying this, and this was my initial thought too, it's to make an example out of him. As much as I dislike him and am not a fan of him, I find him a little entertaining from time to time, but I'm not a fan. I think he's a crackpot, harebrained psychopath, but obviously he's this master showman and knows what he's doing, and he markets to, very underdeveloped people who believe this shit. More power to you as long as you're not harming people, but it sounds like you are. No, I don't think you should be driven into the ground, and I actually think by doing this, the best way to deter you is not by censoring you and removing you from the fucking internet like they did. The best way to deter you is, yes, with lawsuits. But $1 billion? No, this is just where the shit gets funny, and that is where I stop and say, yeah, this is, like he said, it's a fucking kangaroo court. But at the end of the day, I don't think there's any good guys in this. The only people you can feel happy for are the family members, not the judges, not the jury, not Alex, and certainly not any pundits, left or right, or even me.